Do you ever have one of those races you look back on and just wonder, what the hell was I thinking? Well, this race? Yeah, this was definitely one of those races. At the beginning of the race, there were no signs that this was gonna go so poorly. In fact, I was filled with optimism, confident that we were about to have a great start to the race, even if we did accidentally make contact with the Corvette as we came into the first corner. But it's just paint scrapes, no actual damage. And one accident does not a bad start make. Although we do then clip the Jag, but yet again, trivial. But it's followed by flying out wide off the track. Okay, in retrospect, maybe this wasn't the good start that I remember it being, and there were signs that this was going to go poorly all along. Coming up the hill, and we've finally caught a break in the cars, meaning we can focus on hitting some great lines. And it's come at the perfect time too, because this is the area of the track where we're most productive. So true to form, we easily close the distance on the next pack of cars. And what we want to do is get alongside that Lamborghini, so we can't pull out and make us go 3 wide into the hairpin, making it just in time. Sorry buddy, you stay there. Well, I've got to watch the corner exits in this car. Every time I do that, it's costing me time. But regardless, somehow, even with that sort of driving, I've managed to weasel my way up to 5th place. And at the rate we're going, there may be a few more opponents to fall, very shortly. Although, turning into a corner too early like that is not helpful in getting there. But it hasn't set us back too much, and as we come down to the end of the first lap, we might just be close enough to make a move. Even with a good run onto the final straight, we don't seem to be catching the cars in front. But that's not a worry, it was never our plan. What we were waiting for was right here, outbraking them into the first corner, ending up right behind that Mazda. And man, is that car loud. I doubt that thing could sneak up on anybody. Up in front of us is a Porsche. Now to get to him, we've got to go through this Mazda, and then some vacant track. Now, we've got our most productive area of the track coming up, so we've got to get in front of this Mazda by then. But I'm pretty confident that at the bottom of this hill, he's foolishly gonna leave us a gap, and we'll quickly dive on that, claiming that position from him, and then we can get to work, closing that gap on the Porsche. Right, so that's step 1 of the plan out of the way. Now we need to work on the closing the distance part. But I don't foresee that being a problem, as we enter the high-speed cornering section. After a bit of high-speed weaving, we should enter the straight before the hairpin with far more speed than that Porsche. Combining that with his slipstream, and it shouldn't be long till we're right behind him, pulling out alongside, all ready to outbrake him into the hairpin. By the time it's over, that 2nd place is ours, with just one more opponent to go. While there may just be a single car left to catch, as you can see, by the time we wasted fighting all the other opponents, he's developed somewhat of a lead. And in my impatience to catch up to him, I make a horrible entrance into a corner, hitting the grass on the other side and almost putting me out of the race. After that, I was somewhat relieved, when I only received a half-second penalty for that. It could have gone so much worse. But we are still going to have to serve that penalty, and that pretty much means that all the progress we made that previous lap is now a write-off. The only good news is that this lap itself seems to be going quite well. Okay, well that's a penalty served. And the interesting thing about that is, we still seem to be on track to pull out our best lap of the race so far. Now I guess you could look at it as saying, well, my first 3 laps were pretty crap. But I'm going to look at it positively. You see, I usually drive the WRX. So the way I see this, if my lap times are getting faster, that means I'm becoming more familiar with the car. And hopefully, I'm going to be pulling faster and faster lap times as the race goes on. That is, of course, provided I don't do anything stupid. Spoiler alert, I do. It's the 7th lap now, and we're about the same distance back on first as we were from that Porsche a few laps ago. Only this time, we don't have to contend with that Mazda in the way. Which means we can make more use of the track a lot earlier than before. And if we caught the Porsche then, I'm not anticipating any problems in catching first this time. And I can visibly see that the distance is disappearing at a very fast rate, meaning it's not long until we're right behind him, entering the slipstream to close that gap, ready to make a move. And I'm sorry buddy, but this is not my first rodeo at this hairpin location. As I pull alongside, and although he puts up a fight, the hairpin does approach, where we outbrake him into the corner, and as per every other time, we come out a position up. Now we're in first, and we're going to work on putting a buffer between the two of us. Because 1, I want to have the knowledge that I can make a mistake, and 2, without the buffer, we'd spend time fighting, and that would hinder both of our lap times. After a couple more laps though, we do get a decent gap between the two of us, and by the end of the 10th lap, that gap's about to get much bigger as he pulls into the pits. You may notice, however, that I do not. You see, I'm looking at my fuel and my tyres, and I think I can actually make 15 laps on these. But as it turns out, mistakes were made. As not even halfway through the 14th lap, and both my front tyres are shot. And I have to limp around to the end of the lap, contemplating whether to eat this time loss and pit on the end of the 14th lap, or whether I just try wear one more lap and make this a 1 pit stop run still. But the decision is made for me at the last corner of the 14th lap, as the car refuses to turn, ruining any chance we had of making it into the pits. Well, I guess we're committed to 15 laps now. Honestly, I should have been committed for even thinking this was possible. And no, the irony is not lost on me that I literally had the word understeer plastered down the side of my car. One excruciatingly long lap later, we finally make our way into the pits. Alright pit crew, please make it quick. I really don't like how the race manager is glaring at me right now. I get it. It was a bad decision. Luckily, before I can get yelled at, I'm back out on the track. By now, we're about halfway through the race, and we're all the way back in 9th place. But I'm pretty sure that a decent portion of the cars in front of us still have at least one pit stop to make. In fact, at the end of the 16th lap, that assumption is proven correct, as 2 of the cars pull into the pits for new tyres and fuel, moving us up 2 positions. And then, only half a lap later, we find another opponent, making short work of him on the high-speed corner section, and that is yet another place down for us. There's 5th, just up in front of us, and with each corner we take, we're getting closer and closer to him. It's not going to be long until we have fully closed that gap, and we'll be ready to make our move. But it doesn't stop there, because soon the end of that lap rolls around, where yet again 2 cars are heading into the pits. This moves us all the way up to 4th, and right outside of a podium spot. Now the 2 of us are battling for 3rd, and we're coming up to our favourite section of the track. So I think it's time we use a little bit of a move that we picked up from Sophie. See, it's not so much fun when you're on the receiving end of it, huh? And with that mistake by the AI, we've got our 3rd place back, and now we need to work on tracking down those final 2 positions. And it doesn't take too long until we find the first one, at the end of the 20th lap, refueling his car. So that's 1 down, and then a couple of laps later, we find the second one. Also in the pits, making his second pit stop of the race, as we cruise by, and into the lead. Now, nothing can stop us. Except, maybe our lack of tyres, as once again, they're starting to feel worn. And I'm hoping like anything that the opponents don't catch me up on the final 2 laps, where those tyres will once again be non-existent. Through some miracle, however, they don't. And at the end of the 30th lap, we managed to roll across the finish line, realising at that point that the race isn't over, and I didn't have fuel for another lap. So a quick switch to fuel map 6, and we hope like anything that with some excessive short shifting, it's gonna be enough to get us round. But it turns out, it's not even close. As the straight before the hairpin, we're out of fuel. And end up rolling down the hill and off the track. Yep, that tracks. I gotta be the only person that can crash a car when it doesn't even have fuel in it. Now, I've lost any remaining speed that this car had. Oh my god, it's so slow. This is taking forever. But finally, that finish line appears. And as we claim our victory, at least we can say we're the only person who's won this race with a 3-minute lap under their belt. If you enjoyed this at all, please like and subscribe. You have no idea how much it helps. And with that, I'll see you next week. Bye.